If you're working a 9 to 5, it's probably your priority. Your family might be too. So getting that Fight Club physique, ripped, lean, muscular, isn't going to happen unless you're smart about it. Not obsessive, but smart. In this video, I'll show you the minimum effective dose, the smallest commitment that gets you the biggest physical transformation. I know you don't need 2 hours a day in the gym or a chicken and rice meal plan. You just need a system that's working with your life and not against it. By the end of this video, you'll know the 7-minute daily routine that will 3x your transformation progress, if not more. This is a transformation I've been through myself when I was working a 9 to 5. I was able to lose 18 pounds in just 10 weeks, and I've been able to stay lean ever since. So unfortunately, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you might have family, then getting in shape can't be the #1 priority. And that means that we have to make sacrifices elsewhere. And a good task to do to help you with this is just to do a priority audit. And that's just where you make a list of the things that you need to do and basically order them in order of importance. And back when I was trying to get in shape, I really wish I did this, because what you say is not always what you actually do. And you can't really figure that out until you actually sit down and think about it, where all your time is going and what your priorities really are in reality, rather than how you actually want them to be. And there can be a big difference sometimes. And what you might find is that we have like work, family, and then we think it's gym and nutrition and trying to get in shape, but there might actually be a few things in front of it, like going for drinks with work or with mates, or eating out quite a bit, or going on weekends away where you drink and binge eat. And once you elevate getting in shape up to the top 3 of your priorities, then that's when you'll massively see some progress. If you're single, then this is going to be the easiest chance that you'll get to get in shape. So make the most of the extra time whilst you have it. And if you're already a father, then think of it like you're doing a 12-week transformation that could leave an entire physical legacy for your children. So point number 2 is finding that minimum effective dose. Now, I teach my students in the Fight Club Physique program in the very first module about setting up their targets to aim for. So we want to aim for around a 22 BMI, and that's around about the same BMI that Brad Pitt was during Fight Club. And to get those visible abs, we need to get down to around about 12% body fat. So because we're going to be busy with working and life, we need to come up with an efficient system whereby 20% of the inputs can get us 80% of the outputs. And that leads me to point number 3, which is that losing fat is the biggest needle mover. And if it's not, if you're already pretty lean and shredded, it might be time to go on a bulk. And I've got another video on exactly what I'm doing at the moment to bulk, and how I've put on 11 pounds in the first 4 months of the year. So check that out. And the great thing is that losing fat is actually quicker than gaining muscle. So you might go on a 9 or 12-month bulk to build the muscle, and then it might only take like 12 weeks or so to actually clean it up and get back down to the original body fat percentage that you were. So we can use this to our advantage and get this part of the transformation out the way first, as it's the quickest. And it will also give you much more leeway if you want to end up putting on more muscle at the end of your cut, once you have the shredded Fight Club physique. And in the UK, 67% of men, 2/3, are overweight or obese. And in the US, it's even more, 75%. So chances are that this is going to be the case for you, that you have excess fat to lose first. So that's going to be the focus of the initial 12 weeks. Next, we're going to talk about the actual workout program. Now, in my opinion, going to the gym and doing resistance training is the best form of exercise that you can do aesthetic wise. And that's because it's the most efficient way to build muscle. And when you go to the gym, it's not about trying to keep fit or keep healthy or even improve like endurance and that kind of thing. For me, the point of the gym is to build muscle, like that's it. And you don't go to the gym to burn fat in certain areas. At the end of the day, gym is for building muscle and nutrition is for losing fat. And I think that's quite a common misconception that they have. They think it's all linked and that they can out exercise a bad diet, but it's just not the case. So I'll put the exact workout that I did on the screen here. So it was minimum training 3 times per week, and I would do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that's because during the week, Monday to Friday, there was more of a routine, more structure to the days. So I found it easier to build the gym habit rather than trying to go on the weekends where it's a bit more unpredictable and things are more likely to pop up that you might also want to do. And I'd start each session with 2 compound exercises, the ones highlighted in blue, and then I would do 3 accessory exercises, which are highlighted in green. And if I wasn't sure on the correct form for an exercise, or I wasn't feeling the mind muscle connection as much as I hoped, or if I was feeling it in the wrong body part entirely, what I'd do is I'd just go on my phone whilst I was doing the exercise and just look up a YouTube short. So I'll give it a go, whatever exercise it is. And if I'm not really feeling it, then during the rest, I'll go on my phone, watch a quick short. And then it's great because you're already there at the gym and you can practice it straight away. Whereas if you try and do this at home, trying to perfect your technique, by the time you actually get to the gym to try it, then chances are you might have forgotten it already. So that's a great little tip. And this isn't the only workout program that I use. I've got so many more, which are all available in the Fight Club Physique program. And with just one click of the link, it downloads straight onto your phone. So if you're interested in that, then check out the first link in the description. So next is the big one, nutrition. Now, in my opinion, this is by far the most important because, as I said, our biggest needle mover is going to be losing fat. And losing fat comes from nutrition, not exercise. So I'm sure you've heard that you need to get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. And I actually think you can get away with going less. So I recommend 0.7 as like your minimum target. And if you go over into 0.8, 0.9, that's absolutely fine. You want at least 20% of your calories coming from fats. And that's because fat along with protein are essential nutrients, which means that if you don't have them, then you'll die. Whereas carbohydrates are not an essential nutrient, so you don't need them. It's completely up to you. So when it comes to tracking nutrition, as long as you track your calories and track your protein, then you'll be golden. And chances are you'll eat enough fat anyway. But if you are struggling, then just aim for like one higher fat food every day, just like an avocado, or go for higher fat cuts of meat. And then my number one tip when it comes to nutrition is just try and eat the same meals every day. It takes all the guesswork out of it and it just makes it so easy to hit your macros every day. If you do variety, then count your calories. It's one or the other, I think. I think it would be hard to do a body transformation without doing one of these two things. If you have breakfast, make sure there's at least 30 grams of protein. I personally did intermittent fasting. That's what works for me. But if you do have breakfast, then try and go for a lower carb breakfast because it will just make you hungrier by midday, like anyway. If you're working at an office or, on a site or something, then meal prepping is such a cheat code because you're not as tempted to go to the shop and get something unhealthy for lunch, or, if like the lads are going for or getting KFC or something. If you meal prep, you bring the food in yourself and then you just bang it in the microwave, then you're far more likely to actually stick to your calories. Next, we'll talk about cardio, which in my opinion is not as important as people think. I think nutrition is the number one, but cardio can definitely help to speed things along and it can help with like general fitness as well. So I personally decided to do 10,000 steps a day of walking. And what I did was I fit that around my job. So I'd go for 20-minute walk in the morning before work. I'll go for a 20-minute walk at lunch after I've eaten. And then I said to myself, before I go home, I need to make sure that I complete my 10,000 steps. So I would either, on a gym day, I would go to the gym. And then after the gym, I'd drive to like this like woods and finish off my 10k steps. And if it was a non-gym day, I'd just go there straight from work, and then once I finished my steps, then I went home. So you can do any form of cardio that you enjoy, but if you don't enjoy like the high intensity stuff, I don't really enjoy that, then walking is absolutely fine. And if you are really pushed for time and you can't get enough steps in, then some higher intensity stuff might be more time efficient. Maybe just going on the stepper, for example, or doing incline walking on a treadmill. And you can also tag them on to the end of your gym workout. I wouldn't recommend doing cardio before a gym workout because that might affect your training session, and that's the main form of exercise that we're going to be doing. So if you're really struggling, then just do some after every session. If you're on calls a lot with work or otherwise, then such an easy way to get steps in is just by going for a walk whilst you're on the phone, whether that be in your own house, or you can just take a walk outside the office, and an hour could fly by and you've done thousands of steps and you pretty much would have nearly reached your target as well. So just think of like little things like that which make it easier to get those steps in. So now on to the main point of the video, which is the system of getting a Fight Club physique whilst working a 9 to 5. And this only takes anywhere from 2 to about 7 minutes per day, depending on which nutrition plan you go for that I was speaking about earlier. So the first thing you're going to do, the first part of the system, is making sure you weigh yourself every morning. You want to do it fasted, before you've eaten, before you've drank anything. And I recommend getting some body composition scales, but any scales will do. So you weigh yourself, and then that'll only take a couple of minutes. And then what you want to do next is basically put that data onto some kind of spreadsheet or in your notes, and you want to just compare week on week your average weight for the week. And if that's in the target, which I believe 0.5 to 1% drop in body weight per week is a great target. So if your week to week comparisons are within that range, then you're golden. You don't need to change anything. And if they're not, then it means that something needs to change. So that's the first two things. It only takes a couple minutes. Weigh yourself and make a record of the data. And then the final thing is, if you're counting calories, if you want some variety in your diet, you don't want to eat the same things every day, then the next part of the system is just counting the calories. And I personally used MyFitnessPal when I was counting calories. So it just takes scanning the barcodes of the packaging on the food, putting in how much you actually use in grams or mils or whatever. So that will probably only take an extra 5 minutes per day. So that's the 7 minutes right there. You have a minute to weigh yourself, minute to just type it onto your phone, and then around 5 minutes per day counting your calories. And that's it. If you do those three things, then I guarantee it'll be so much simpler and you'll make way more progress to getting that Fight Club physique, even if you're working a 9 to 5 and you have a busy life. And I hear all the time from people the common pushback to weighing yourself like every day. And I'd ask one of my students or one of my mates, did you weigh yourself this morning? How was it? And they'd say, I didn't have a very good day of eating yesterday, so I didn't weigh myself. I'll do it tomorrow. And we need to flip that, because it's not, I didn't weigh myself because I had a bad day of eating. It's, I had a bad day of eating because I knew that I wasn't going to weigh myself. If you make it a non-negotiable to weigh yourself every day, then there's that short-term punishment in your mind that will prevent you from making bad food decisions. So this really is the number one thing, is make sure you're tracking the data, and I guarantee that it will get you much quicker results. So if you like this video, you might also like one of these two videos. See you next time.